They said it would be clean. No faces. No blood. No questions. Just a retrieval job. In. Out. Done in under 7 minutes. They handed me a dossier, thin and precise. Black and white photos. A blueprint of a 3-story house in Northern Virginia. A floor plan with movement patterns marked in red. Target's name, Thomas Grant. I didn't flinch when I read it. Not at first. Because that name hadn't meant anything to me in 18 years. The man I used to call Dad disappeared when I was 11. No note. No suitcase. Just a dinner that got cold on the table and a couch with one dent in it, like someone had been sitting there too long before standing up and vanishing. My mother said nothing for months. Then one night she told me he was somewhere far away, and that I shouldn't worry about the why. I never saw her cry about it. I just saw her drink. By the time I was 15, I understood. He'd left us. That was the story. Until now. The man in the photo wasn't older than I expected. He looked paused. Like someone who hadn't aged the way real people do. Like someone who'd kept a life in a sealed box. Same sharp jaw. Same narrowed eyes. Eyes I hadn't seen since I was a child watching the front door wait for it to open. Except now, I had orders to break through it. I didn't say anything to the people who hired me. They didn't know who I was. That's how I kept my work clean. My name for this job was Lang. No last name. No backstory. No history. Just a reputation for precision and silence. They paid me half up front. The rest after retrieval. The target was listed as a rogue data broker. No mention of violence. Objective: recover a lockbox labeled ESD. Nothing more. No kill order. No engagement. Just in, retrieve out. And as I sat there, staring at the name Thomas Grant, all I could think was, why him? Why now? And then worse, why me? I studied the house for 9 days. Didn't touch the perimeter. Didn't trigger the motion fence. Just watched from a half-mile out using long-range optics and a thermal reader tuned to body signatures. It was a quiet place, brick exterior, ivy crawling up the west side, garage door that never opened. The kind of house a man chose when he wanted to be left alone by the world. Or maybe watched it collapse from a distance. My father, Thomas Grant, had a routine. He woke up at 6:12 a.m. Coffee. No cream, no sugar. Read from a physical newspaper. Not a screen. Took walks at 8:15 sharp. Same path. Same shoes. Same vacant look. He didn't have visitors. No deliveries. The mailbox stayed empty. Everything about him screamed, ghost. But not mine. I watched him longer than I needed to. There were easier ways to get in. The side gate lock was antique. The basement window seal hadn't been reinforced in years. The alarm system blinked every 23 seconds, which meant it was using a recycled pulse sync, not a live monitoring feed. I could have been in and out on day one. But I waited. I needed to see him move. I needed to remember what it felt like to hate someone I used to love. The lockbox, ESD, was listed as secured in private office, 2nd floor, west side, 3rd drawer. I'd seen the room through the blinds. Old desk. Closed laptop. No personal photos. Just a single, sealed box made of brushed steel. No markings. No biometric reader. Just a lock. Analog. Whoever he'd pissed off, they didn't want the box deleted. They wanted it retrieved. That meant it mattered. A lot. On the 10th night I moved. 2:11 a.m. Moonlight behind me, gloves on, zero noise. I bypassed the side gate with a pin shim, rolled across the yard, cut the window seal with a scalpel. No creak. No break. Just glass gliding out of frame like it wanted to be removed. Inside smelled like dust and books. The kind of scent that lingers even after someone's gone. Except he wasn't. He was awake. I saw the faint glow of a lamp under the crack of his door. He was reading. Not a newspaper this time. Not a screen. A file. Thick. Worn. Bound by a single band. I couldn't see the title. But I saw what was taped to the back, a photo. Of me. I should have left. I should have turned around the moment I saw that photo, my photo, taped to the back of a file I never gave anyone permission to create. But I didn't. I stayed crouched in the hallway, breathing in air that hadn't touched me in 18 years, listening to the low rustle of paper and the clink of his teacup against glass. There was no fear in him. No sense of being watched. Which made me wonder if he already knew I was there. I moved past his room silently, gliding across the hardwood floor to the West Wing office. The lock was as expected, simple, old, but well-maintained. I opened the drawer and found the box right where they said it would be. Heavy. Cold. Brushed steel. The word EAST etched faintly across the top in small block text. No code. No instructions. Just a lock. A real one. I picked it without thinking. Reflex. Like tying a shoe. And when the lid opened, it wasn't money. Or hard drives. Or documents. It was a recorder. The analog kind. Tapes. 3 of them. Each labeled with a date. The first one, October 12, 2005. The night he left. I should have closed the box right then. Should have locked it, walked out, and handed it over to the people who paid me. But curiosity has a sound. It hums in your ears louder than morality. And that hum pulled me toward the player on the shelf. I slid in the first tape. Press play. And heard my father's voice. If you're listening to this, it means they found me. Or they found you. And either way, I failed. His voice was calm. Not old, not sick. Just quiet. You probably hate me. You should. I walked out on you. On your mother. On everything I was supposed to protect. But it wasn't cowardice. It was containment. Because I was part of something, and they don't let you retire. Not fully. I froze. The words weren't rehearsed. They were confessions. Not dramatic. Just matter of fact. They sent you, didn't they? Lang, if that's still what they let you call yourself. He knew. All of it. I sat in that office, in the dark, with the recorder still humming. The tape ran until it clicked off, and for a moment, the silence felt louder than the voice. I didn't move. Didn't breathe right. I just stared at the second cassette sitting in the box, the one labeled October 14th, 2005. 2 days after he disappeared. I slid it in. Press play. Lang. I wish I could call you something else. But they probably stripped the name from you by now, haven't they? I swallowed. The room was colder now. You were too young to remember the last time they knocked. You slept through it. But I didn't. They told me I had two options: give them what they wanted, or watch them take it from you. What they wanted was data. Not information, real memory. Biological recall. And somehow, they learned you had it. I blinked. No. That couldn't be right. You were born during a program I worked on. It doesn't matter what it was called. It was experimental, unethical, and buried under enough clearance to disappear a continent. But the point is, they used you. They embedded something in your brain, a kind of pre-neural indexing. Information you don't even know you carry. And now they want it back. The air in my lungs turned to glass. I couldn't move. Because suddenly, everything made sense. The jobs I was offered. How they always came to me. No outreach needed. How the pay was too high. How the targets always knew something before I did. They weren't hiring me. They were following me. Watching. Triggering. The third tape was labeled, "If he survives." I didn't play it. Not yet. Because I heard a sound behind me. Soft. Barefoot. Familiar. I turned. And he was standing in the doorway. My father. He didn't speak. Just stood there, arms down, eyes on me like he was waiting for me to remember something I never could. He didn't look angry. Or scared. Just resigned. Like a man watching the end of a tape he's already heard before. I stood up slowly. No weapons. No sudden moves. He nodded at the recorder. "They send the tapes with the job now?" he asked, voice rough like sandpaper. I didn't answer. Because what could I say? That I didn't know? That I was just a tool? That I'd spent years doing things I thought were mine? Choices, missions, paydays, only to realize someone else had been writing the script? He stepped inside. Closed the door. Then sat in the same chair I had been using, leaned forward, and opened the box. He pulled out the third tape. Turned it over in his hands. "This one," he said, "was never for them. It's yours." He slid it into the recorder. Press play. "Lang, if you're hearing this, it means you didn't pull the trigger. It means they still don't fully control you. I don't have much time. They're watching everything. Even this. But I need you to know something before they decide what you are. You weren't made for them. You were made because of them. Your mother and I, we tried to stop it. We ran data through synthetic matrices. We rerouted neural backups. But in the end, it got into you anyway. They don't want your memories. They want your instincts. Because you solve puzzles they can't. You connect dots they've forgotten exist. You've been doing it your whole life. And they've been collecting it the whole time." The tape crackled. Stopped. No click. Just dead air. I looked at my father. He looked at me. And we both knew what the other was thinking. It's too late. He didn't try to justify it. Didn't offer apologies. Just sat in that old chair and waited. For what, I still don't know. Maybe for me to break. Maybe for me to remember. Maybe for me to finish what someone else had started. I asked the only question I could manage. "Why me?" He looked up. His eyes weren't soft. They were tired. Because you never needed to be taught. You were born seeing the seams. The gaps in the world. They noticed before I did. He stood up. taller than I remembered. Or maybe I'd just grown smaller in the last hour. "They didn't send you here to kill me," he said. "They sent you to prove you still could." I didn't ask who they were anymore. Because now I knew. They weren't people. Not anymore. They were a system. A current. An algorithm made of choices too old to trace. They didn't build me. They just found me. And kept me moving in the direction they needed, job after job, decision after decision, until all of it pointed here. To the man I was never supposed to meet again. He left the room before I did. Left the box. The tapes. The silence. He didn't run. Didn't look back. Just faded into a hallway like a memory I wasn't sure ever really belonged to me. I sat for a long time. Then I took the box. And I left. No one followed me. No payment arrived. No confirmation. No cleanup. No acknowledgement that the job had ever existed. I've done other work since. Not as clean. Not as neat. But I keep the box. And every now and then I play the third tape again, the one he said was for me. I've memorized every word. Every pause. Every crackle in the static. But the part that haunts me most? It's not what he said. It's that, halfway through, for one brief second, it sounds like I'm the one speaking.